Hey guys, Mike here. I'm back. Hey Kevin, what's up, man? I'll go ahead and send you this video after I finish up here. So this may take, I don't know, I'm thinking 15 or 20 minutes. Honestly, I could have done a PowerPoint. That would have been dope, but I don't have it on my computer because I just had my computer cleared out, because it was messed up for whatever reason. Yes, I have had my computer hacked, my phone hacked. And again, um, typical surveillance through the wall stuff, and the voice to skull, or what we know it is voice to skull, synthetic telepathy, um, which the synthetic telepathy broadcast, the EMF stuff has calmed down a little bit, for me. So that's good, you know. But anyways, um, so what I really want to do is, I was kind of afraid of this at first, but I'm not anymore. I don't care. Okay. I'm going through it too. So I wanted to share with you guys what I know and the things that I've learned, and the resources that I have, so you don't have to suffer and torture as much, because now you need hope. And so knowledge is going to give you that hope, and you can start taking action after you do that. Very simple process. You just need a purpose driven plan. And first you got to get that knowledge. So, all right, here we go. So pretty much I'd really like to put myself out there. Kevin does that on the daily. So I'm like, well, hell, if he's not afraid, why should I be? You know? So I'm coming out with it. Here we go. Yeah, you know, and I really respect Kevin a lot for that, and anybody else who comes out with what they're going through. So, um, yeah, man, Kevin, I'll stand up with you, man, for sure. I'll stand up for this with you any day, any day, man, any day. Just let me know. I got you. So I've definitely got some valuable things to share with everyone. So sorry I couldn't get a PowerPoint slide. I would have, but all right. So I'll kind of go down my bulleted point list. I've got a lot of info, and I'll try to keep it like plain and simple for you. I'm gonna give I don't have, not screenshots. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold books up. I'm going to hold things that I printed out at the library up for you, and you can pause the screen whenever after the video is made, so you can take like a screenshot yourself if you want to get that resource to help you. Because I want you to know where to find these things, and once you get them, like some of them, like where to look in them, where you can find this stuff in there, so you're not just playing a wild guessing game and taking 3 hours to get through this section, and like, where is what I want to know? Well, it's here. Okay. So I'll do my best with that, and I'll try to present the most important info. All right. So, anyways, without further ado, so um, first I'm gonna go down just do some bullet points real quick, and then I'm gonna go through and go back and go get a little bit more detailed. So first I'm gonna go over books. Okay. So there's a lot of books I don't have that would help me, like things on the microwave auditory effect. I'll talk about that later. But okay, so first we're doing books, right? Okay. Here is a book. Here are two books that I have from Dr. Robert Duncan. Dr. Robert Duncan is a PhD. He worked for the CIA. Oh, the CIA, Alphabet Soup Agency. Don't we all sort of want to work there? I don't know, clandestine. Anyways, but yeah, the guy worked there, and he's written books on exactly this stuff. So he is not, I'm assuming that he's probably not dealing with neighborhood gang stalkers, or but he's come out with stuff, and he's talking about how the government's what he's talking about. He talks about the government side of things, and Kevin is talking about people who have access to the same technology, and they live in his neighborhood. God forbid if you lived in my neighborhood, Viva la Crucial, get the fuck out of here. Anyways, so here's, without further ado, Robert Duncan's first book that I got. It's this. And sorry if that's backwards. I hope it's not. But when I'm looking at it, it is. I'm not sure how to fix that yet. But this is called Project Soul Catcher Volume 2. Don't get confused. Maybe there used to be Volume 1, but there's just Volume 2. Volume 2 is all you need. He talks about everything in there. He talks about how, like, literally gets into some nitty gritty, and he explains it in a way that you can understand, and shows you, has pictures and diagrams, stuff like that. So He talks about how they get in your head, the voice transformation, because a lot of people who are, again, Project Soul Catcher Volume 2. Pause the screen if you want to. Go ahead and grab this one. This is a really good one to have. So in that book, basically, he talks about, like I said, everything. And yes, they can get in your dreams. They get in mine. I just call them avatars when they get in there. And a lot of times they have like red around their eyes. It's really strange. I'm like, are you being? What's going on with you? Why do these avatars look like they're people, but they're not the people that you see. They used your friends or whoever that they to get in there, and they look like your friends, but they don't act like your friends, so it's not your friends. And some of these people you hear when you're not dreaming. But anyways, gosh, what in the hell was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, Project Soul Catcher Volume 2, Dr. Robert Duncan. Look up Dr. Robert Duncan's stuff. He is trying to work on making a bubble that like a invisibility cloak for us that we can have over our head so that we don't get the synthetic telepathy, the V2K type stuff. He's working. Him and another guy have been working on that for a while. So it's in the works. I think it's honestly, I think it's already there. But maybe he just can't come out with it. Because invisibility is based on negative index refraction and using metamaterials. So the electromagnetic wave, it's just negative refraction. And it goes around the target and continues on the same path that it was going before it even got close to the object that is cloaked in metamaterials. That's how drones, I don't want to say that's how drones are cloaked, but drones can cloak themselves too. So it's probably just based on like the materials that they're made with. I don't know if they put a thing of metamaterials around a drone or not. I doubt it. It's something else, but they can cloak themselves. Cloak. Okay. So read that one. You want to know stuff? That book. All right. Scientists, man. Scientists know stuff. And he's a whistleblower. Nobody really wants to be a whistleblower, but those people know things. So what do they know that you don't know that you should? Knowledge. And then you can take all that once you've gathered this knowledge and do something. Like hacking hack computer science stuff and electrical engineering type stuff, like radio hacking. I'll get into that in a little bit. So here's Robert Duncan's other book. He's got a third one called The Matrix Deciphered. In there, he talks about The Matrix Deciphered. Well, I'll talk about that in a second. This is the first one that I got. I got this with the other one. I read this first, How to Tame a Demon. So he answers like some of the like basic questions that TIs are going to have. So you can pause the screen on that. There's that book right there. The third book that Dr. Robert Duncan's got. Great guy too, by the way. He's got a beard now. He looks good. Hopefully he didn't shave it off. His third book is called, real quick, it's called The Matrix Deciphered. If you can find a copy of that, lucky you. Otherwise, you're going to have to dig for it on the internet and find a PDF. But if you can, do that. I took a bunch of snapshots with my phone from information I got from there. And he talks about how they can, all the ways that they can do this, that they're able to do this. And then the one most probable way that they are accomplishing voice to skull, synthetic telepathy, stuff like that. He talks about destructive interference or deconstructive interference. I mean, I'll look at that in a little bit. Okay, so that's Dr. Robert Duncan. All right, cool. So the next doctor, more doctors, guys. Isn't this great? So this particular doctor is not a scientist. I wouldn't call him a scientist. He's a doctor, an anesthesiologist, and more. He's on Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. He's part of that. There's some good audio stuff with him out there about that, and he's written these two books that I'm going to show you. His name is Dr. John Hall. Lives in San Antonio, Texas, and he has written a book called, the first one he wrote was called A New Breed, Satellite Terrorism in America. In this book, he talks about a private investigative agency full of former federal employees who were gang stalking him and his girlfriend. And his girlfriend, oh, it's awful, man. Gosh, this group, this group was gang stalking them, and they raped her, they drugged her, raped her, stuff like that. They would come in the house and take off handles and mess with stuff just to like fuck with their heads. Be like, and so when they would come home, they would think, what is this like petty, stupid thing that's out of place? Well, you can't tell at my house because my house is so damn messy, and I live with somebody else. So if we had a stupid dumbass gang stalker try and come to my house and make something look fucked up, ain't gonna happen, man. The house is so messy. Fuck you. Okay, pardon my language. Okay. Anyways, satellite terror, a new breed, satellite terrorism in America. Listen to his podcast too. He's been on. People have interviewed him. Okay, so there's that. Next one. Okay, this is called guinea pigs. John Hall, guinea pigs. Gets a little more detailed into stuff and talks about audio harassment. Chapters 1 through 5 in this book are the best, I think. But you can read the whole thing because you bought it. Then he gets into like New World Order. I'm not into the New World Order stuff. I don't care. Okay, New World Order. Don't care. But smart guy. I read it all because he's, I have respect for that guy. I have respect for him, so I read the whole thing. Anyways, now here I'm going to show you three more books real quick, and then I'll be done with the books. No, I'm sorry, I lied. I won't be done with the books. I'm going to show you some ebook resources too. You guys need to have this stuff. You want to know? You want to like not be targeted anymore? Get some of these resources. I'm telling you, you'll see. And then I'm going to sprinkle a bunch of other stuff in. All right. So we've got The Diary of an Angry Targeted Individual. This is like, I don't know, close to 400 pages long. 400 pages something. But this lady, it's 400 pages, and she's been targeted for 9 years, so she's got a lot of great resources in here. Yes, she's got her journal entries. If you want to skip her journal entries, go ahead. I read the whole damn thing. Somebody to share your pain with, if you're that kind of person. I think we all are to some extent. Absolutely, man, myself included. So it's just anyways. Yeah, Diary of a Angry Targeted Individual. Mind Invasive Technology. So she talks about the tech they use, just like these other guys do. So it's interesting. 9 years, you can learn a lot in 9 years, especially if you're a TI, Okay, so now this next one. This guy's actually got 2 books. I only have one of the 2. This is called The Invisible Crime Part 2. It's by Michael Fitzhugh Bell. This guy got implanted and he got raped and knows a bunch of stuff from being a TI. Has the telepathy going on. I'm not so sure about the gang stalking. I haven't read it in a while, but give it a read. He's got some great information. So if you're not a full-blown TI, but you want to get some good information, it doesn't matter if you're not a TI, man. Get the TI stuff, because TIs have been dealing with this for so long. They're so sick of it, but they know so much stuff because of what they've had to go through. So this is what this book looks like. Like, these are good resources, man. Like, get to know what these people know and then expand on it. Okay? So there's that. The last like book I'm going to show you before I show you some ebooks is this. You want a basic understanding, just a little. This thing is really thin. Look how thin that is. So thin. Hopefully it doesn't break. My laptop doesn't get pregnant. That was terrible. Awful. Gosh. Okay, anyways. This is called The Suffering of Mind. Yeah, The Suffering of Mind Control Victim. So it's hella cheap, man. You can get it off of Amazon. You can get all kinds of stuff off of Amazon, eBay, whatever. Grab that if you want a quick, whatever. Have a quickie. Grab that bookie. Okay, so now I've got some stuff I printed out for you guys because I don't know. I haven't installed the like Microsoft Office type stuff on my laptop yet because it got cleaned out. So I don't have any Microsoft Office stuff, and I couldn't make a PowerPoint, but it's all good. So, and I don't know how to show on my phone yet while I have a video resources. So what I did was I printed out stuff at the library because I don't have a printer here. The books that where I got the best information from. All right, so the first one that I really want to show you is this. All right, this is called MK Tech Invasion and Mind Control. This guy has a degree in computer science and did his postgraduate in computer forensics. And whomever, I don't know if it's government, he got to study some government aspect of it, and people in the private sector, what have you. But get this one. Get this freaking thing explains dang everything. So he talks about how they get in your head too. So what you want to do is you want to get multiple resources. You want to draw similarities between those resources so you can confirm instead of just reading one book and thinking like, okay, so that's it. No, dude, get multiple resources and check and be like, and so then you can be satisfied with what you think you know or what you do know now. Because if from 2 to 3 or more sources, you can probably safely say, all right, I think I have faith in that information. So again, this is volume 1. There's a volume 2 that he's got coming out. He just hasn't translated it yet because I think he's Spanish. So this is happening in South America a lot too. So, I mean, it's happening all around the world. The good old folk on my via synthetic telepathy told me they can do this all over the world. Satellites, man, satellites. Cell towers are involved too, but they don't need those. They can just use a satellite, computer and a satellite, and choose you. We want you. Okay, anyways, I think you get the point. So, all right, volume 2 is this. This is what it's gonna look like. It's just a green one, and he talks about more stuff. You want to know things? Read this stuff. I'm gonna go back to that, the volume 1, when I go over some of the more detailed stuff, because I really want to. There's just all kinds of stuff I want to touch on that I think you guys should know. And if you don't know, glad you're here. Okay, so now this is another one. This has to do with the microwave auditory effect. So there's been a lot of studies done on that. I'll go over that. This is called auditory effects of microwave radiation, like on the body. So that's basically these days they call that particular study. It's like biophysics, or it's like bioelectromagnetics. So how electromagnetic radiation affects the human body, like the tissue and just everything about the human body, the brain, all of that. So you think within there it's not going to affect, have an auditory effect? Absolutely. That's why it's called this. But bioelectromagnetism is definitely a field of study these days. I don't really know when it was born. Doesn't matter. It's a thing. Check it out if you want. And I'm going to give you more videos with more resources and all that stuff. So you don't have to spend as much time researching all this stuff like I did. You can just go straight to this stuff and be like, okay, right. Now what can I do? All right. So you can make your own plan. But now check this out, dude. So I've got several ebooks that I got from Amazon Kindle, like for free and for hella cheap, right? So the radio protocol. This thing has got a lot of the like 8 or 9 old mind control projects in there. And I'll show you a picture I'll show you a picture real quick of what I got. Some great knowledge I got from that ebook. And you guys need to know this stuff because this is how, like, it has to do with how they conduct synthetic telepathy, voice to skull. Okay. And I'll show you what. Wait a minute. Sorry. Hang on. Okay, so I'm done with the pictures for right now, all right? So first, a lot of the old mind control projects, they talk about frequencies and modulations, different ranges, stuff like that. And, this has been going on since the 50s. Like early 50s, dude. So, like this stuff is like, it's not new, The only new part about this stuff is the digital age, it's just made it easier in some ways, for this to occur. And for all we know, they could just be using 70s technology to get in your head. which is what I was told was being used on me. Compliments to... Who do we compliment here? Because there's no chef. There's nobody cooking. There's no savory flavors in my mouth. This is just kind of like, what the fuck? What the fuck, right? What the fuck? Okay. So, anyways, all right. So number one, I've got 4 main things. Like, I've got a lot more, man, for real. But I just don't want to get too much. I'll touch the surface, show you pictures. You guys can go look all that stuff up yourselves and refer back to me on this video for things if you really want to dig into it. Because Kevin talks about his neurological broadcast frequency, I'm going to talk about that here. So you want to know how they do synthetic telepathy, how they accomplish that? Listen to this. Come back to this. And, I'll show you, like, how far I've got. Okay, so... Anyways, number one, MAE, the microwave auditory effect. Like how it manifests in your body. We're humans. By the way, Project Pandora, I think it was I don't know. Okay, I don't know when. Just look up Project Pandora. That project was to see what the effects of electromagnetic radiation, EMR, had on people's behavior. That's what that was about. You can check it out if you want, or you could skip it if you want, because I'm going to show you what you really need to know, and then we'll talk about other stuff, like hardware and hacking the radio spectrum, and just hack, radio stuff and computer stuff. Those are the 2 main things. You can't go wrong. Signals and hacking type things. I'm not a hacker, okay? But damn, those people know a lot. Wouldn't you like to know what they know? At least to help yourself. All right, the microwave auditory effect. Like I said, I've read just a handful of some of the old mind control projects. God, forget that shit, man. You don't ever, God forbid that anybody was ever a part of those, but the government did what it had to do, I guess. I don't know. Terrible stuff, but fascinating though, nonetheless. All right. Yep. So, like I said, Project Pandora, like I said, that was about the effects of EMR, electromagnetic radiation, on the human brain and behavior, because the government loves to study behavior. Let me show you real quick with my phone what I'm going to go over, and then I'll speak it out loud. Okay. Sorry, 1 sec. Let me show you. Right here, man. Right here. So this is so Project Pandora right there. If you guys want to pause the screen and take a better look, take a screenshot of this, and then you'll have this. So you don't have to dig through that ebook to get this information. I've got it right here, man. So Project Pandora, like I just said. Then you've got MK Ultra, MK Delta. Everybody know, most people who know about mind control, it's MK Ultra they've heard of. What is that? Well, it was a mind control program run by the CIA. They had a lot of front organizations. Read about it if you want. Main thing that I got from there, biggest thing, was that they the radio frequency ranges that they used to conduct this, which is very similar to the way they conduct telepathy, synthetic artificial telepathy now. So the way they do that is they take a high frequency, very high frequency, and ultra high frequency. They can do, those are the main ones. So we'll say HF, VHF, or UHF modulated at ELF or ULF. ELF is extremely low frequency, and ULF is ultra low frequency. They can also use SLF, super low frequency, and VLF, which is very low frequency too. But to keep it simple, I would just say UHF modulated at ELF. Bam. Okay. Now then we've got Project Orion, 1958. Radar uses pulse microwaves, dude. So we're talking about square waves. That's how that would show up in an oscilloscope. Because you can see different waveforms in an oscilloscope. That's what it does. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. It's great. So radar microwaves, radar uses microwaves, but they're just saying that particular project used radar and microwaves modulated at ULF. ELF, what a surprise. There's a pattern here. What are they modulated at? Well, the lower frequencies are the ULF and the ELF. Those are called base level frequencies, baseline frequencies. Those have to be carried. So basically, if we go back to the MK Ultra, UHF is too high on the radio spectrum for us to hear. We only hear it's approximately 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay, so yeah, ELF and ULF is in that 20 kilohertz is in the 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz range. But they have to be carried to you in order for you to hear them. Otherwise, I believe they would attenuate. I'm not sure if that's exactly it's close enough. So basically they would use UHF as a carrier, and ELF or ULF would get modulated onto that UHF carrier, and it gets carried to you from a cell tower or a satellite, or maybe some no good neighbor of yours. Who knows? That can happen, but don't focus on your neighbors too much. You might end up behaving in some one. It only takes once to mess things up for yourself, man. So don't do it. Don't go trying to talk to your neighbors about any of this type of stuff or blaming anybody until you don't know until you know. All right. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, UHF modulated at ELF. That's how you would say that. And this started in the 50s. Okay, so then we've got Phoenix 2, 1983, U.S. Air Force, NSA. Everybody knows about John Sinclair Akwi. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but there's a case from 1992 about remote neural monitoring, the first time ever anything was released on that. And then the program the NSA uses apparently is called Mind Prism to read your thoughts and all of that. Edward Snowden is the one who released all that, so it's been out since, I don't know, probably 2012 or 13 or whenever he was doing all that. So this is all open source stuff, man. But again, so for that Phoenix 2 project, they use radar, microwaves, modulated at UHF and EHF. So that's not the opposite. They were still using, or wait a minute, you can make sense of that. They have voice in there. Voice isn't in there. And we can only hear voice between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz, plus or minus. So they went pretty high there. EHF is a little too high. Look at the frequency bands. Look at the radio frequency bands. And, keep just a little paper for yourself about it, or just look at it. If you look at it enough times like me, you'll all automatically know, and you'll know the satellite bands too. The radar bands that I showed you, or did I show that? No, that's the one I didn't show. Sorry, I'll show the radar bands here in a minute that they're allowed to. Radar frequency bands that are allowed to be used. So we're talking military, and there's only a certain range in which they're allowed to do that. And I talk about I show you VHF all the way up to X band. And then the white space in between are the frequency areas, the frequency ranges that they're not using. So you can narrow it down, refine. When you get information, you want to refine it to the best of your ability. Cut the fat. What do I really need to know? Keep that, cut the other crap. So anyways, all right, now another project was called, this is, looks like I'm just reading off here. RF Media 1990. This is from the Radio Protocol, okay? All this stuff is from the ebook called The Radiohead Protocol, and you can get that in Amazon Kindle, okay? It might be free, might be super cheap, okay? So, and that looks like they're saying that was HF, VHF, ULF, phase modulation. Again, that word, modulation. They had these frequencies, these signals have to be modulated in order to make you hear people talk in your own head, to make you hear voices. Yep. So that explains voice to skull. It's got to be modulated. So that's one thing you can know for sure. Well, it has to be modulated, and they cannot mess with you. They can't mess with you without signals. It's imperative. They can't mess with you without signals, and modulation is part of signals. So, all right, RF media 1990 CIA Videodrome signals. I used to know what that meant. There's a video called Video or something Drone, Videodrome. I think that's a movie with Russell Crowe, and it's pretty badass. It's cool. Videodrome. Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, I think. I don't know. Check it out. It's cool. Then we got HARP. People talk about HARP, okay? But so HARP, 1995. Think 1995 when you think HARP. I'm not going to go into the acronym. Just look it up yourself. But what it is atmosphere. This project was about atmospheric phase locked resonant VHF and UHF. What they do is they bounced ELF waves off of the ionosphere. So low frequencies can be bounced off the ionosphere and come back down to Earth, bounce off the Earth, yada yada, whatever. And they can use that to make you hear stuff, you know. But here's the thing: they shut HARP down in 1999. I don't know if they brought it back online or whatever. It's up in Alaska. So like I said, again, they bounce extremely low frequency of ELF waves off of the ionosphere. Sometimes you can still hear HARP. Apparently, it's seasonal. But anyways, just some info for you there. So then we've got next project is Tower 1990. What is this? CIA, NSA. Okay. Not really surprised. The government knows how to do all this stuff, guys. And then we got regular people who know how to do it too. So this is why I'm showing you this. Yeah. And I want you to know. All right. So this Tower 1990, CIA, NSA, that was about microwaves, SHF, EHF. Those are frequency bands. Modulated at ELF via cell towers. There's that pattern again, guys. Modulated at ELF. It could be, yeah. Yep, notice that pattern. Modulated at low frequency. Again, they can use cell towers or satellites. So who knows what they're doing with you. We'll get into that. So V2K, voice to skull. We've all heard of voice to skull. Microwave, what V2K, the science behind the voice to skull is the microwave auditory effect. If you look at the patent for V2K, it talks about a range of, I think it's like, you'll see that pattern to that range, that UHF, ultra high frequency pattern, between like 400 megahertz and 750 megahertz, I think the patent says for V2K. Again, we're making connections and patterns here so we can be happy and be sure of what we know to do something about this. All right, V2K, microwave auditory effect. UHF modulated at ELF, SLF, ULF, VLF. All four of those are possible. You can modulate UHF at any four of those. But voice will probably be it's more likely that it's SLF or ULF or maybe even ELF. That's more likely. Not VLF, but probably ELF, SLF, or ULF. And it has to get demodulated for you to hear it. So that's a whole nother talk, but we'll get into it. So like I said, usually from about 400 megahertz to 750 megahertz is the UHF range where they use voice to skull. That's also ironically, that's the resonant frequency range. Resonance, that word, resonant frequency. Kevin always talks about neurological broadcast frequency. I believe this is what he's talking about. And it's typically, from the research I've done, it's within this range, 400 megahertz, between 400 megahertz to 750 megahertz. That's in the UHF band. So the microwave auditory effect, MAE, can occur from this has a wide range though. So here's the thing. So that's why we narrow it down. The microwave auditory effect can occur, or voice to skull, because microwave auditory effect is the science behind voice to skull. And this can occur between about 200 megahertz and 10 gigahertz. And 10 gigahertz is the same thing as 10,000 megahertz. So check it out, man. That's a pretty big range, so you've got to narrow it down. That's why I'm about to show you guys the radar frequency bands, so you can check in there, because radar is pulsed microwave, okay? And in order for the microwave auditory effect to be effective, it's got to be pulsed modulated microwaves. So the signal has to be modulated, and it's got to be pulsed. It has something to do with like the voltage gradient within your head. I won't get too deep into it, but I just wanted you to know. All right. So it's a pretty big range to check, so we have to narrow things down. All right, man. So I've shown them a lot of pictures so far. Okay. So wonder how we are on time. All right. So that was okay, that was number 1. All right. So what is this? One last thing on the microwave auditory effect. Check out the patent. Check out a patent called hearing device. I read the hell out of it. It talks about, here's another modulation scheme. Again, that word modulation. Again, and this is on the radio science side of stuff. Signals. We're talking about signals. This is on the signals side, not the computer hacking side. But you can combine the two, and that's called, you can do that with software-defined radio. All right, so anyways, in the hearing device patent, it's saying that they can basically use the microwave auditory effect, or they can have the same effect on people by using double sideband with suppressed carrier quadrature amplitude modulation. Again, that word modulation, DSB/SC QAM. That patent talks about using that particular signal, and that signal has to be modulated, and that modulation scheme is DSB/SC QAM, and that stands for double sideband, fully suppressed carrier, quadrature amplitude modulation. There's other ways it can be done as well, but the patent explains how that's the most plausible way to do it as far as that particular patent goes. Okay, so we've talked about 2 ways. So essentially you can have what I just told you here, and then you have the other way, which is UHF modulated at ELF type of microwave auditory effects. So those are 2 different ways that it can be done. Patents talk about stuff like that. Look at it if you want to. Read about the microwave auditory effect a little bit more, some studies. The first one that was ever done, was basically this microwave auditory effect originated from World War II, where they could stand in front of radars and hear the radar. So Alan H. Frey was a neuroscientist that worked at General Electric. I think it was General Electric, not General Dynamics, General Electric. He was a neuroscientist, I think. And he's the one who produced the first study in 1962 on the microwave auditory effect. So he used animals, he used humans. That data is out there, all right? And then after that, in the 70s, came Joseph C. Sharp's patent V2. He's the one who patented V2K. And what does V2K use? The microwave auditory effect, indubitably. All right, and then we've got, from 2021, move way forward. I'm glad this guy did this, man. And he's the one who showed you the picture of that book I'm going to get, the one from the beginning of the video. He's the author. James C. Lynn made a book about the microwave auditory effect, and that book was called, I showed you the picture, Auditory Effects of Microwave Radiation. He redid the study, and there's another guy out there who redid the study as well. It's harder to get a hold of his stuff, but gosh, what was his name? I don't know, but look up James C. Lynn, okay? Because you can look up some videos too. All right. So basically, this is the microwave auditory. This is the microwave auditory effect, guys, right here. This is like the basic stuff you need to know: the modulation, frequency ranges, stuff like that. And then we'll get into resonant frequency because it has to do with that. Again, drawing connections between the things that you know is the best thing that you can possibly do. So here we go. Number 2, MK Tech Invasion and Mind Control Volume 1, Volume 2. It is in translation. So I told you guys that already. I showed you the pictures of what those ebooks look like. You can get those ebooks on Amazon Kindle on your phone. Abso-freaking-lutely, man. And I wish I had a picture of that particular page, like page 324. It talks about resonant frequencies, and I wrote it down here, so you don't have to go dig for it. But get the book. So, like I said, the author of those books spent like the last 8 or 9 years researching. Like, they've allowed him to step into this world and make these books. So I guess he's kind of a reporter, you know. Well, good for us. Cheers. So like I said, he has the author has a degree in computer science and a postgraduate in computer forensics, and he says in his books that frequencies between 420 megahertz and 750 megahertz are the resonant bands of the electrical activity in the human brain. Now, what did I say earlier? The V2K patent, right? 400 to like 750 megahertz. What do you think, guys? What do you think about that? There's a connection right there. So what you're looking for in that range, if you have like a spectrum analyzer, are pulsed modulated microwaves. That probably aren't supposed to be there, but okay. So that's that. Let me turn the page here. I might stop because the video is kind of long. If you like long videos, cheers, man. I think I'll make a second video. So this will be my first one. I'll finish up with number 2 here as we move forward. Okay. So next I was going to talk about number 3, the computer side of things. Okay, so this has been about a 40-minute video. You know, go back and look at it. Pause the screen if you need to. Get these resources. Check it out. Check out the radio side of things, and the computer side of things as well. Those are the 2 main things for you to help yourself. Anyways, I'm going to cut it off here, guys, because this video is kind of long. I'll go ahead and make like a part 2, like a second video. We'll talk about some really cool stuff that I want you guys to know. Like I said, I care. I know that there's a lot of people suffering out there. They don't know what to do, or they haven't done enough. And to me, I annoy myself if I feel like complaining and I don't do anything. So this is what I've done, and I just wanted to share all of this with you guys. So, all right, out for now. I'll be back with a second video. Cheers.